The New York Jets are looking for a new head coach as Adam Gase has officially been fired. We got 12 candidates we're going to take a look at in just a few moments. But first, rate the Jets head coaching job from a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being terrible franchise structure, worst job in the league. 10 being, hey, this team can win a Super Bowl within 5 years. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm going to give it about a 4 as of now, but you guys can cast your votes down there. You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. We're going to get into some Adam Gase replacements now that the Jets have moved on from their head coach after just 2 seasons because he's not very good. 9-23 in 2 years, started 0-13 this season with the New York Jets. This is a team that just has not been good under his leadership. He ran Jamal Adams out of town. A lot of players were not a fan, and ultimately we saw this coming, 3 months ago? Even before the season began, Adam Gase had basically lost this job before it even started, and when you go 2-14, yeah, you're going to be looking for a new head coach. So let's get into 12 candidates that I cooked together for the New York Jets. Let's start with Jim Harbaugh at number 12. Don't think this is super likely here, but we know the NFL likes him. He's constantly linked to NFL head coaching gigs. Things have gotten kind of weird at Michigan. Reportedly could sign an extension through 2026, but I think he is at least willing to take NFL calls. We'll see how the next couple of days go as Black Monday has been in full circle here today. We'll see what happens with Harbaugh in the NFL. Don't think the Jets is the perfect fit, but hey, you could certainly call and see where his mind's at. At number 11, another college coach, Dan Mullen. His name is sort of surfaced in NFL circles this season, and I think the main reason is because the NFL is now looking for the next best offensive mind, right? And Dan Mullen is certainly that. Had one of the best offenses in college football this season for the Florida Gators. He turned that offense around quickly because for years, ever since Urban Meyer left Florida, they could not find a good offense, but Dan Mullen has brought that back down there in the swamp. But I think his name's mostly popping back up because he's probably looking for a pay raise. He strikes me more as a college guy than an NFL head coach. But again, you could certainly call and see where his mind is at. Let's get into the top 10 here in NFL OC. Brian Schottenheimer for the Seahawks. He's kind of viewed differently. It's a mixed bag for Schotty. I think some people like him. Obviously, the last name helps in his case. But in all honesty, he hasn't done a great job as the Seahawks OC. For years, it was, we're going to run the football, 60% of our snaps and not let Russell Wilson throw. And then this year, the first half of the season, this offense looks great. Russell Wilson's an MVP candidate, and they kind of regress the second half of the year offensively. I don't think he's really a top-tier type of head coaching candidate. There's some interest among NFL teams, but I got him down there at number 10. I would not hire him if I were the Jets. If you want another Adam Gase, hire Brian Schottenheimer. So who should the Jets hire as their next head coach? We'll get into our next 9 candidates in just a second, but I want you to cast your votes in the comments. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break here. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. You guys debate in the comments, who should the Jets hire as their next head coach? At number 9, I've got Robert Saleh, a guy who I really like and is finally drawing the interest and respect that he probably deserves on a national scale. I think this year was some of his best work because the 49ers had injuries left and right. The Lions and Falcons have already requested interviews. He is going to interview with those teams. We'll see if the Jets get in line as well. One of the top defensive coordinators in the NFL. Don't think the Jets necessarily is the fit, but I got him at number 9. Brandon Staley, this is a name probably to keep in mind in future cycles. I think this cycle is probably a little too early for him, 38 years old, but people were surprised when the Rams let Wade Phillips go, and Staley took this defense to a whole new level, changed up the scheme a little bit. Aaron Donald had a major bounce-back season, and he did wonders with this defense, probably one of the 5 best units in the National Football League. Don't think he's ready to be a head coach yet, but at 38 years old, if you want to get in early and perhaps take a look at Staley, that could be an option for the New York Jets. Pat Fitzgerald, a guy who has done wonders at his alma mater at Northwestern. That program was nothing before he got there, and he's made them more than relevant in the Big Ten, has gone to a couple of Big Ten title games in recent years. Reportedly, he's at least willing to listen to the NFL this time. For years, he was not even willing to do so. I'm not convinced he'll make the jump right now because he loves Northwestern, and they will never fire him. I think the Bears would have been tempting for him because locally that's literally 40 miles away from Northwestern, the Bears job. But Matt Nagy's going to get another year, it looks like. So I don't think he would take the Jets job. But, hey, he could be tempted into it. There are reports that he is at least willing to interview this time around. Now, should the Jets hire a college coach? What do you guys think about this? Because a lot of teams are looking to the college game, especially from an offensive standpoint. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Should the Jets mix it up and hire a college coach? Go ahead and cast your votes down in the comments section. Now, we've got some face masks available for you guys at chatsports.com/Jets mask. This 3-pack is only $6.25. It is 75% off. We got other styles and variations for Jets face covering solo packs up to 4 packs, but this is the best deal right now. Chatsports.com/Jets mask. You can go check that out and take advantage of that deal today. Let's get into the top 6 here. Matt Eberflus, the DC for the Colts. He's been quickly rising in the coaching game. Was with Dallas a few years back. Gets the DC gig in Indianapolis and has done a great job. One of the 5 or 6 best units in the National Football League. The Jets and Texans have requested interviews, so we already know the Jets are interested. The question is, will they hire a defensive-minded head coach? That's a question a lot of NFL teams have to consider these days because most teams, in the way the sport is going, offense is the priority. So if you're going to hire Eberflus or a Don Martindale, who I've got at number 5, similar mold there, really good defensive mind, you got to convince these organizations, if you're a defensive candidate, that, hey, I can bring in the right offensive coordinator that can jumpstart this offense. That'll be key for Eberflus. That'll be key for Martindale as they interview for some of these openings, potentially including with the New York Jets. We'll get into our top 4 in just a moment, but first, do you love breaking news? If you love the NFL, subscribe to Chat Sports. We have daily videos covering the latest news, rumors. It's off-season coverage coming up very soon. Mock drafts are going to be on the channel in abundance this off-season. I can promise you that. Free agency coverage. We have it all here on Chat Sports. It's 100% free. Hit that big red button and subscribe today. Eric Bieniemy, we've got him at number 4. I think he's at number 1, 2, or 3 on most teams' lists, but I think maybe he'll have the opportunity to be a little bit more picky. He's had interviews in recent years. He interviewed with the Jets 2 years ago. They opted to go with Adam Gase over Bieniemy and some other candidates. They've requested an interview. I haven't seen as of yet if he will choose to interview with the Jets. He's going to interview with the Falcons and Lions today first. But Bieniemy is a guy that is going to draw a ton of interest, and Andy Reid has already given the seal of approval when it comes to EB. So we'll see if he gets a head coaching job this cycle. Arthur Smith at number 3, the Titans offensive coordinator, just 38 years old. He's done wonders with Ryan Tannehill, kind of revitalizing his career in a lot of ways. He flamed out in Miami, gets the 1-year deal in Tennessee, takes over for Marcus Mariota, has a great 2019. Gets the bag in this past offseason. People were skeptical while Smith continues to develop Tannehill to being really a top 10 quarterback at this point. He's done a really good job. He's committed to running the football with Derrick Henry as well. I like his offensive attack and mindset. I think it could work with the New York Jets if they give him time and he gets the right personnel up there. That's going to be the key for whoever the Jets hire, because as bad as Gase was, what was he going to accomplish in 2 years? You got to give these guys a chance to bring in their culture and bring in their system and give it 3-4 years. But we know the NFL is an impatient league, so we will see whoever gets this job if they can turn it around quickly. So the Jets have an interesting situation on their hands because they no longer have the number 1 pick. They now have the number 2 pick. So do you roll with Sam Darnold? Maybe you trade down. You keep him. Do you draft Justin Fields, or do you go get Zach Wilson out of BYU? Pick a quarterback if you are a New York Jets fan. SD for Sam Darnold, JF for Justin Fields, ZW for Zach Wilson. I would bet one of these 3 quarterbacks will be the starter in New York next season. Brian Daboll at number 2, and he'd probably be my top candidate if I was the New York Jets, because I think they have a decent shot at getting him if they want him. He's molded Josh Allen into an MVP candidate. The Jets have requested an interview, so we will see if he does sit down with them in the next couple of days. Obviously, he's focusing on the Bills' playoff run as well. I think an idea of hiring Daboll and selling him on, hey, you can hand choose our quarterback, that would be intriguing if I'm Daboll, because in a vacuum, if you're Daboll, you're like, man, do I want the Jets job? But that number 2 pick, and if the Jets say, hey, You will have major influence on who that pick will be. That's something very tempting if I am Brian Daboll. And then at number 1, Matt Campbell, the head coach at Iowa State. He rejected an interview from the Jets 2 years ago. I think he was like, hey, I'm not ready. I'm going to stay at Iowa State, continue to build my brand here and rebuild this program, which he certainly has. Just took Iowa State to the Big 12 title game, won a Fiesta Bowl over the Oregon Ducks. Coming off the best season maybe in Iowa State history. I don't think that's hyperbolic. That's how good of a job he's done with the Cyclones over recent years, and especially this past year. If he wants to make the jump to the NFL, he's going to have opportunities. We know the Jets like him. They liked him 2 years ago. Sure, it's a new regime with Joe Douglas, but that relationship is a little bit in place already. So we will see if Matt Campbell lands that New York head coaching job. Here's the deal. They're going to fire somebody, and when they do, we will have it covered here on Chat Sports.